Shai, I want to ask you about the
Nick,
two-way
what's up?
sequence, the block that you had in transition, and then it leads to the alley-oop that you throw to Hartenstein, and just the feeling in that moment, the competitive spirit of that moment.
Yeah, I had. I think that was after I had a few turnovers. I wasn't pleased with myself. I thought we could have slammed the door in the game and really spread the lead. But I just tried to make an effort play. I can't remember what happened offensively, but I saw Tatum had a leak out, and I just wanted to. I was the last guy back and make a play. I knew I was going to either foul him or block the ball. Turned out on a block, and then once he went down, I realized we had a 5-on-4. And just trying to make a play from there.
And Dub, you guys hold them to 27 points in the second half. Tell me about what you felt physically and just the connectedness of the group on that end of the floor.
Second half, we just got all of our switching and rotations down. First half, we just haven't played them in kind of a team like them and how they play. So I feel like both teams were trying to figure each other out, and they were doing a better job of it. But we got our schemes into the game, and just kind of our core principles. I feel like we kind of buckled down on that, and then from there it was just about competing and making the right play, keeping one shot, and we did that.
Shay, I don't know how you'd measure the amount of high leverage games you played in. I know you're 7 years in, but comparatively, those guys over there, Mark was just saying they've forged between playoff losses. They forged this level of I don't know, experience to be able to be cool in these type of games. But you came out with the first punch and almost wire to wire, gave them hell. I guess what is it about you that allows you to play like that from wire to wire in high leverage games?
I like to compete. At the root of it all, I like to go against the best and see where I stand, how good I really am. And that's all it comes down to. Like Coach said, they've done things that we've dreamt about doing, and there's no way to get there without playing teams and competing against teams like that. And that's what I wake up for. That's what I play the game for. And that's what tonight was about.
Well, I guess then I'd ask, where do you think you stand, league-wide?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at basketball.
It's kind of interesting. Different guys and teams are noticing you guys making these runs in the second half. Like the Knicks other night, anytime you guys make a run, Thibodeau's calling timeout. Tonight, Missoula didn't really want to call a timeout until he just had to. Can you tell, when you're on the court and you guys are making this run, can you tell they know it's coming? Are they reacting differently? Can you, when you're on these runs in the third quarter or fourth quarter, taking over a game?
Honestly, I don't even know how to answer that question. When we're going on those runs, it just feels like we're out there by ourselves and we're just executing the game plan, sharing the ball offensively, being aggressive, and whether the ball's going in or not, it's a good feeling. But yeah, I when those things are happening, the other team is the back of our minds. We're just worried about ourselves, what we're trying to get into the game. We're executing at a high level, and because of that, we're good offensively, and we're rolling, and the energy's high, especially when we're at home.
They shot 51% the first half. They were mid-50s much of the first half.
Mm-hmm.
They finished 36. Was that just your defense picking up, or they missed shots? Which one was it?
Defense for sure. They had a lot of easy stuff around the rim in the first half, and obviously they had some size. But we, like Dub said, we figured out the switching, got more into contact with those, made them tougher shots. They shot a lot of threes. They always do, obviously. But, yeah, we just tried to make their lives a little bit more difficult, and we did so.
Shai, do you notice any similarities of playing off of Al Horford in Oklahoma City and now Hartenstein as kind of high post creators?
Yeah, both very skilled. Both, can see the game. Obviously, Big Al has been in this league a long time, has a lot under his belt. But yeah, Isaiah is phenomenal. He makes the game so much easier for myself. As soon as the game he got back, I could feel it. But very lucky to have him. I know the whole team is.
Shai, you were here when the team hit the reset button. Does it mean anything to be 30-5 right now?
It's cool. I try not to think about where we were or where we're going and just stay in the moment. So many things happen in between where we were and where we are now, and it's because at the end of every day, the whole team, the whole organization is plugged away at trying to get better, and we've done so. And I think that's the recipe for growth in life and not just basketball. That's the recipe for growth. And as long as we continue to do that, we'll continue to climb. It might not always be pretty, might not always come when we want it, but we will eventually get where we want to be if we continue to do so.
Shai, the other night in postgame, you hyped up this game. You were hyped up to play this game. Did you get what you want out of it, everything that you're looking forward to playing on it? And how do you prevent a letdown going on the road now?
Yes. We won, so I got out of it what I wanted. We played through some adversity, which is always good. Always learn from it. And then as far as going on the road, we just gotta. It's gonna be hard on the road to get off to the slow starts that we've been getting off to lately. So we have to kind of fix that. We got to throw the first punch, especially on the road against good teams with their environment, their crowd behind them. It's gonna be a little bit of a challenge to do so. We just got to make sure we get off to better starts.
Yeah, for either one of you, y'all talked about getting in those situations where you're in that zone where you feel like you're playing out there by yourself. But a lot of times y'all are getting in those when you're down double digits, sometimes in the second half. A lot of times teams fall apart when they get behind like that. You guys seem to thrive in those situations. What is it about you guys that allows you guys to not only do that, but do that against really good teams like New York and like Boston?
Playing with sense of urgency. I think we do a good job of like jumping back into like what makes us good. Sometimes we kind of get the car off track and just trying to get it back. But I think just, yeah, like sense of urgency, understanding what it takes to win. And as we've gotten older and we've been in a lot of those games, it's something where you just don't panic.
Kind of a follow up on that. You guys, sorry, I lost track of what I was going to say. Good stuff.
Go ahead, Michael. We'll go back to you.
Shai, going back to like the early days playing with Lou in the bubble, that game 7, it's sort of like built this lore of him being like a big game player. Tonight he starts out 0 of 8 and then turns it around and goes 4 of 6, I think. Hits some major big shots down the stretch. How big is it to have a guy like by your side like that who you know is sort of just ready for the moment?
Ever since Lou, I've known Lou to pick up a basketball, he's had this like unwavering confidence in his ability. And that's what we saw tonight, but that's who he is, like to his core. Like Lou has always been a basketball player who he like takes what the defense gives him and he plays assertive and aggressively. Like not obviously defensive, but not only defensive, offensive as well. And we saw that like even when we were like more in the rebuilding stage, Lou's had like 25-point quarters because of that. Like Lou's had big games. Now he's kind of suppressed his offensive role with the team, but Lou is very capable, and he knows that, and his unwavering confidence allows him to have moments like that, have spurts like that, and that's what makes him him.
You guys talk about being a really good defensive team, and Mark was in here talking about you guys, when you get below where you want to be, you do a good job of getting back on track. And it's easy to say you want to be a good defensive team, you want to get back on track, but what's the key, like being out there to actually go out there and do it?
We want to win, and the way I was taught to play basketball is to win, you must get stops. You have to stop the opponent more than they stop you, and that's where we hang our hat every night. 1 through 15 or however many it is, we know that defensively, if we do that job, we give ourselves a chance no matter who we play.
Then you guys are basketball junkies and you know the history of the game really well, and you guys are kind of coming up on surpassing all those all-time great defenses. Does it feel like you guys are like one of those teams that you used to watch?
We know we're good defensively. Now comparing and trying to like see who's better, like we don't do that at all. We're worried about ourselves. We're worried about how we can be better in the first half tonight, and plugging away at it like that. Like comparing, well, it's pointless for us. they did what they did in the past, and we're trying to do what we do in the present.
Shai, just hearing you talk about, the other night, how excited you were to play this game. Tonight, you're mentioning that those guys have done things you guys dream of. I wonder, is it possible to use a night like tonight as a measuring stick for the game, but also call these games like 1 of 82?
Yeah, absolutely. Every game in the regular season, every time you step on the court, you get a chance to get better. You get a chance to compete, and that's what the game is about. So, whoever's on the other end doesn't really, it adds motivation, obviously, but at the end of every night, you get to compete and you get to get better, and you get to see where you stand as a team, and that's what the opportunity has been for us throughout the season. That's how we look at it. Now, who you play against adds a little bit more to the game and all that, but at the root of it all, it's just competition and a chance for us to get better. And we play 82 games in the season, and hopefully we've gotten better 82 times, and then we're ready for the playoffs.
Just along those lines, Shai and Jalen, how significant is this win when you look at just the way it played out? I mean, you guys are down by double digits. You fight back in the fourth quarter. You're up, you go on this huge run, and then you knock off the champ the way you did. How significant is this win when you really look at it like that?
It's not that significant in the grand scheme of things. It's one game. Now, we got better tonight, and that's what we're after every day. So it's significant in that way, but it doesn't hold any weight. The game's over. We'll learn our lessons. What we did good tonight, we'll continue to do good. What we did bad tonight, we'll try to erase it off the board and get better at it and keep it pushing. I think we have Cleveland next game, another really good team, and it's the next challenge. Try to be better against them.
Jalen, Jalen, what do you say about it?
Yeah, it's good to go up against teams like that. Obviously, given that they just won, but at the same time, it's a game in January. We're just trying to get better. But it is good to play teams like that. Again, we play Cleveland, where we can kind of test where we need to be at, and whenever the playoffs start.
Right. For both of you, I mean, last year the big storyline was about afternoon games in terms of struggling early on in the season. And that, did either one of you kind of learn anything from last year compared to now of how to handle afternoon starts and a change in your routine?
Yeah, I think for me, it'll probably be a little different for him. He'd been in the NBA longer, but I think it was just more understanding when to go to bed, when to wake up, when to just have certain routines and move around, and what needs to change for me to get ready for the game. And that's something that's been applied the past couple times. And I thought towards the end of the year last year when we had a couple, I think when we broke the little seal of actually not winning them, I had kind of found a good routine to get ready.
Anybody else? Schleck, you can go with the last one.
What'd you do? What'd you do?
Tore my ACL.
Oh, damn.
Oh.
Jeez. Sorry to hear that, bro.
Just your thoughts on the 15-game winning
what?
streak. Huh?
Doing what?
Playing football with my kids.
It was worth it.
Yeah.
It was worth it. I
Anything
scored
for the
a, scored a
kids.
touchdown. It's okay. But just thoughts on the 15-game win streak, and you guys talk about this at all? What has that meant to this group?
It doesn't feel like it's been 15. I know I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but we genuinely are so focused on every day that we don't feel like it's been a month and not losing. You know what I mean? We did some things good tonight, we did some things bad, and we're gonna try to get better from that. And that's what it is every night, every game. And because of that, we've been able to strung a few games together.
Does some of that come from the 0-0 mentality that Mark has imprinted on this team since day one?
Absolutely. That's been, for as long as I've been here, that's been the message, the formula. Sam came in, I want to say it was 2 years ago. It was him and Chet's first year. Chet was hurt. And they came in and said, we can be as good as we want to be. And we can't fast forward to the end of the season. We can't do anything about the past. All we can do is try to get better every day. And if we do so, we'll be where we want to be eventually. And I think the group has listened, and because of that, you guys see the product.